saying that out of every 36 states, we have 6 in the southwest. Now, about 50%, roughly 1 billion of the entire world population can be said to have one form of disability or the other. I thank God, Professor, you are speaking about this. Disability prevalence is higher in developing countries, and I think this is part of why we are here, to the fact that because of why we don't really have the data, and because we don't have the data, the prevalence is higher, and because we care less about our population, this can be accounted for. And about 110 to 120 million people experience significant disability and cannot manage their lives without assistance. That's the data from WHO in 2011. And in Nigeria, coming down, about 25 million people facing several human rights issues. And by the way, the Nigerian Constitution has taken this into consideration, to the fact that all Nigerians, just like Madam who just spoken, as mentioned, all Nigerians, irrespective of color or sex, should have equal access to national resources. And you have stigma, you have discrimination, you have violence, and you have even lack of access to healthcare, housing, and education. The one that is still going on is COVID-19. There was a proposal that I wrote sometime during last year, which I said I was still expecting the report, and it has to do with how to assist people with disability in view of COVID-19 pandemic in assessing healthcare, because
I work in the disability community, and if Dr. Adiba is my friend, yes, I can. Plateau is higher. It's higher than any state in the country. I can tell you that. The governor is also very progressive. That was why it was his mentor. It was all the people that placed the legal role in the selection, in the passage of the bill. You might not know this. We that are working behind the scenes, so just to reiterate that Lagos is doing well, but you are following after Plateau. Thank you.
What we have first, this is the state of the PWD in the Northwest Zone. I try to give you a window into, a mirror into what is really happening in the Northwest Zone of Nigeria. And you can see the Northwest Zone consists of 7 states against 6 and even 5 of other states. So it's a very big zone, in fact, most populated than all the rest. And just like what we're doing here today, we want to start having our own data. You can see from the census of 2006, it is really stating that the zone is most populated than the others. Okay, you can see that in the state, the domestication is still far from being accomplished altogether. The state of the PWD in the Northwest Zone of Nigeria regarding this independent living is still what it is, even with the effect of, even with the act, the domestication has not been accomplished by all the states. The persons with disability are still struggling. Disability, the act now. So the act, there has been a concerted effort before this act by the people with disability themselves, NGOs, CSOs, all over, both globally, both internationally and locally, have been trying to see how there will be an improvement of living for persons with disability in the zone. So the struggle continues until the 2018 Act. The law becomes a legal document now that gives the PWD a platform to fall on. And hitherto that, we can see that the United Nations Rights for Persons with Disability had been there, the American with Disability Act. So many other laws and rights have been on. But all these laws are not very functional here, but functional in the developed world where we have them. And it has been affecting and improving their lives.
No program is coming through them. So I think it's just to pacify persons with disabilities. By the time they appoint an advisor, persons with disability will stop agitating. I think that's what they are doing. So we shouldn't see it as any achievement. So when we want to engage, we look beyond the advisors and engage properly.
Because, for instance, for the social model component, the environment is seen as the obstacle to the ability of persons with disability to actually function. And removing that barrier will create an enabling environment. So, and for human rights component is equality for all. So removing the barrier, the social barrier, will create that equality. And that is why I said the two components are one of the same. Thank you.
You know, encompass all. What I just want to clear is when Dr. Balogun was saying 4 visible, that maybe the presentation was based on 4 visible disability. What I mean by this visibility is the implementation, is what you see when you come in regards to barrier, in regards to structural, in regards to road. Those are what I'm talking about, visibility of the act.
Myself and one of my PhD students were doing a study, inside UNN, trying to find out what the University of Nigeria in Nsukka is doing in order to beat the 5-year, plan, to see if they have started something, at least looking at the buildings and what have you. And we have like some principal officers of the university that we want to interview to see what they are doing. And if they are not doing anything, maybe to raise their awareness, because they will not remember. So we are hoping that by the end of this talk, we'll raise their awareness that you guys, if you're not doing anything, you need to start, because 2 years already gone. Then another highlight is, before you construct a public structure, you need to be inspected. That's a public building. You see the man on a wheelchair. He can't go up. This is what you see many of them. Even in our universities, students on wheelchair. If you don't have friends that will carry you up to where lectures are given, it becomes a problem. This is very familiar. There's somebody who's visually impaired. You see the 3 branches. These are some of the things you see. This is Southeast State. Southeast is just, you can see the red portion there. And it has 5 states, Enugu, Ebonyi, Anambra, Imo, and Abia State. These are the states that make up the South. Of the 10 states that have passed the bill, even though I heard that Kano has issues with that, so 9 states. Anambra is the only Southeast state only that has fully. In fact, Anambra signed their into law before federal government. In fact, they deserve to be clapped for. And I didn't bother to put in other states because what I saw is that every state have a person who is special assistant on disability with big car and big office. All the states in the Southeast, they all have. But nothing is being done. So it doesn't appear as if it's maybe like a political appointment or they're just using it to appease some group of persons. Whereas people are actually shouting and screaming that you need to investigate this bill, but people are not really doing much about it. So I think this is really, really timely. This research or this project is timely. Next slide. So what can we do? Because something must be done. We need to do something to get the states to start thinking about domesticating this act.
People should rise up to the occasion. Disability rights disability bill has been passed in 2018, 2019. What has the community done to ensure that this bill, a lot of people are aware of it? For example, is this the kind of program we're doing here? Where is the National Orientation Agency? Where are they? What about the media? There are lots we can do to ensure that these people are carried along. And if we keep saying about the bill, we won't get to anywhere. We have to step up by implementing the bill. And when people know what they're supposed to do, it becomes easier. For example, the Commission 2013, when the Disability Unit was formed, we didn't know where to start from. So we decided to move in, meet persons with disabilities, sit down the round table to discuss issues, to see how we can mainstream them into the electoral process. And that gave birth to a lot of measures that we've introduced to ensure that the access is given to them in the electoral processes. So what am I saying? Advocacy, awareness. We need to press the right buttons by meeting the right people, the right group, to help us be our voice. Speak for us. Let people understand what this bill is all about. You're talking about 5 years. We've already gone by 2 years. How many is remaining? And people are not aware of what we're talking about. We can visit National Orientation Agency, do a round table with them. The media, we bring them together, let them speak up, even in their own media stations. You don't see sign language interpreters. It was the other day I saw CCD, Mr. David Janele, meeting the Minister of Information, right? To discuss on sign, and he did promise that they're going to take up and down. They've not started. So we're going to do a lot of advocacy, awareness, great awareness, let people break this bill down to the understanding of every person, to know the needs and what is needed of them, be it in the Commission, be it in whatever agency they are, to ensure that these people are mainstreamed into society and let everything just start working.
Now, from the background, Northeast Geopolitical Zone is one of the 6 geopolitical zones the country has. The zone is made up of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe State. The state, Gombe State, is considered central because Gombe shares boundary with all the states in Northeast Zone. Shares boundary with Bauchi, Adamawa, Taraba, Yobe, and Borno. So Gombe is really the capital of Northeast Zone. Next slide. The people of the zone are commonly Muslims and Christians, and the language of communication is Hausa and, of course, English. Agriculture is the common occupation among the people of the zone. It is also important for me to observe that in the Northeast Zone, no university has special education program for teaching and research on disability. No university in Northeast has that. It is just of recent, some state colleges, some colleges of education have started offering special education at NC level, like FC Yola, COE, Kangere, these, and of course, College of Education Nazareth. These are the 3 colleges of education at the station level that has special education. No polytechnic has it, no university has it throughout the zone. So you can imagine that the extent of research and teaching in this area of disability education is lacking. The zone is also unique because this is nearing 2 decades. The zone has been plugged into insurgency. Insurgency has obvious implications on disability. It leads to increase in number of persons with disabilities. The livelihood of persons living with disabilities before this time have been crippled. This is the state of people with disabilities in the Northeast. So disability resulting from conflict-related injuries is becoming more prevalent than those due to other factors like disease, accident, heredity, and environment.
A very active social activist, Zaka Abubakar, protested to the government house in Lafayette and accused the government of non-inclusion in both civil and public service activities, as promised during the election. We also observe that in spite of the existence of the Act, assistive facilities are generally outside in public places. Then Kogi State. On the 4th of June 2019, the Kogi State Governor Yahabel signed the bill to establish the Disability Office to guarantee and protect the rights of persons with disability. The governor also appointed a speech-impaired youth and former cleaner Peter Ali as his senior special assistant on sanitation in May 2021. The state has also partnered with NGO, the Mobility Aids and Appliances Research and Development Center, with headquarters in Lagos, to cater for the special needs of disabled people. The state paid more than 9 million as its counterpart fund and about 3 million naira for the execution of the humanitarian projects for the less privileged indigenous. The Kogi State government similarly, in June 2017, distributed mobility aids and appliances to physically challenged persons across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. In form of empowerment as entrepreneurs, in March 2018, the Kogi State government gave 50,000 naira each to 50 women living, to 50 women with various forms of disabilities to enable them start off their businesses. We highlighted all these things to show some of the little things the Kogi State government has done. However, in terms of challenges, in spite of all this from the state government, it has not transformed to an improved life for persons with disabilities, especially as most public buildings still remain inaccessible, thereby hindering equal access to basic services.
Research discussion with the various groups and stakeholders were able to identify these issues. And I also discovered that these issues are enshrined in the provisions of the Act. And that is to tell you that the Act presently has no place. Now, but the major thing that I think we need to talk about in all of this is attitude. Attitude. Because we've been talking about, before the effort, the attitude. We've been talking about this act, even places where they are domesticated, where appointment has been made. Thank God for the various reactions we have. Attitude from the two sides. One, from us. Two, from them. And when I say us, I think those of us that are without disability. Then again, from those people with disability. I understand there are sometimes, I won't mention names, we have seen somebody who has been the president of the Jonabe, president of Association of Persons with Disability, as appointed again as a special advisor to a particular state governor. And then at the end of the day, we see fights, we see, cheatings, we see getting money and put it in personal pockets and all that. Now, efforts in South, we have felt the effort of the United Nations Convention. Documents are all over. awareness of this document and presence in the various ministry offices and agencies. The knowledge of American with Disability Act is there. The idea and all that, no child left behind, assistive technology, the knowledge is there and is well circulated. But the implementation of these things are not there. Then our own act is conspicuously absent. In South, it's as if we have not even started anything. That is just the position. Even though we have in crossover states budgets in the House of Assembly, there are budgets for persons with disability, and they have a good proportion of amount of money for them. But there is nobody that have claimed to have benefited from the provision. But we have a lot of people, even outside this region, that are really, really helping. API will create not just data, but also good instruments to inform and bring to limelight what the gaps and what we need to do, just like we have been discussing. Because this is a long-awaited opportunity, particularly for those of us in the academics. We've not had any opportunity to, air our voice. So I am quite sure that this is going to be a very wonderful opportunity.
I'm supposed to make comments about the North Central. From the beginning, some of the suggestions, comments that were made, I'm trying to add all of them up, and I see that there has been a lot of contributions today. Truly, we have seen what the experience has been from the different states, but there is one that I really noticed I want to talk about. Persons with disability. Person with disability is correct to use that expression. The persons living with disabilities is wrong to use. Please, I want to make that correction now so that we can all get it right. In the other presentation, we talked about those who are blind, those who are deaf, those who are physically challenged. But I didn't see where deaf persons are mentioned in all of the presentations. Clearly, does that mean that deaf are not involved in this research work? I also noticed that when we talk about disability law in 2018, that was established in 2018, that this discrimination against persons with disabilities law rural, okay. Yes, the persons in the rural areas, yes. The rural communities, yes. There are persons with disabilities and they are not aware of all of these things you are saying about the disability bill. So those in the rural community, they have to really have a feel so that they can have the right fight, so that the problem can be made clear. For example, in a village, a person living in the village comes to the city using transport. For example, that becomes a challenge because there are a lot of challenges that I have to face on the road. Also, it clearly shows that the disability right, some clearly see the problem and we hope that it can solve it.
So, for instance, if I present my case in court and I accuse, let's say, INEC of doing 1 and 2, and I don't have that certificate, in spite of the fact that it is obvious to the judge that Kazim is visually impaired, I may be temporarily deprived of that course of action. That's right to litigate that particular infraction. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is just for all the presentation, just to correct the date. I've been seeing January 23rd, 2019. That's when the Disability Act is passed. It's actually January 17, 2019. And also to speak on Dr. Oluseyi Dada presentation. We've worked in Akwa Ibom, and we've been working in Akwa Ibom. I know that Akwa Ibom have a law, but has not been passed, which has gone to second reading at the National Assembly, at the State Assembly, yes. So they have a document that they are working on. The issue is just that the JONAPID have a problem, and the document have been asked to, for a review, which CCD is also helping them to do that document, to review it and take it back to the National Assembly.
To everyone. I think one person said 9 or max 10 out of the 36 states in Nigeria have passed or domesticated the act. So I was wondering, from those who have done a lot of advocacy around this area, if they can tell what the pushback has been like from the other states that have refused to domesticate the act. Are there commonalities amongst those states, so that we can know what maybe strategies we can use for advocacy in the other states that have refused to domesticate? So for those that have done a lot of advocacy in the other states, can you share what the experience has been like? What has been the reason why maybe state assemblies have refused to pass the act, or there has been a refusal of accent by the governors? Thank you.
In the country today, in Nigeria, there is very limited data. Generally on SGBV, and on SGBV among persons with disability. In fact, we can see that the state of evidence is close to 0. There were only very few studies with very limited focus, majorly qualitative, that has tried to go into understanding the problem of sexual and gender-based violence among persons with disability. And 2 particular studies are the one conducted in place forward. So 2 particular studies that I'd like to mention here is that of the Nigeria Stability and Reconciliation Program, which was conducted in 2015, particularly in Plateau State. And the other one is the study conducted by the Society for Family Health in 2021, just about 2 months ago. The study was concluded, and it's purely qualitative, and it focused on 5 Lavia states. That was supported by UK government. Lavia states of Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Yobe, and I can't remember the 5th state now. And from the study, from these 2 studies, there are some social myths and practices against persons with disability. Both studies affirm a lot of issues relating to sexual and gender-based violence among the PWs, and there are so many social myths surrounding this.
This is the state of the literature as it stands today. So part of the component of this disability research project is that we'll be conducting a fresh study on sexual and gender-based violence against people with disabilities. And now we have the opportunity to do more detailed quantitative study where we're going to be collecting the larger sample size, and we're going to, of course, be supporting quantitative with some qualitative, just like we've seen. But what I've been seeing so far has been efforts mainly from qualitative data. But the work we're doing going forward on this project will include quite a number of quantitative data to put numbers to the issues. Thank you.
I was denied the opportunity of studying medicine in ABU. That was in 2000, 2019, 2000, okay? So now I don't feel I'm a person with disability on my phone. Because I understand in this context, like I shared earlier, just like someone saying he has mental health challenges or psychosocial disability, which we use in the disability community, he won't get a job. Can you imagine what type of disability you have? Psychosocial disability. Automatically you have disqualified yourself. So that's why the Washington Group was developed. So just to say this, the Washington Group developed an approach to measuring disability based on identifying those who, because of difficulties doing certain universal basic functions, are at greater risk than the general population for limitation in participation. You know, I showed you the what's called ICF model. I say it's participation they are referring to. So look at the set, the short set. We have the short set, the enhanced version, the Washington Group short set enhanced. Then we have the extended. Then we have one for child functioning, because if I go to like refer to children, the developmental milestone differs. You have one for 2 to 4 years. You know, some may have developmental delay, and then we have one for 5 to 17. So we need to be very careful even when we use this Washington Group of questions. I have had issues with international organizations working in the Northeast, including UNICEF and other organizations in the Northeast. So I have to correct the usage. My training in the Northeast region, where I've been very, very actively involved over the last 10 years. Just to let us know that some organizations like DFID, it used to be DFID, now FCDO, promote, DFID, DFAT, even USAID, they are now promoting, including World Bank, they are promoting the use of the Washington Group of questions. And also has been introduced by the UN Economic Forum and so on and so forth. So, of course, it's very recommended. I won't go into this. Okay, limitations I've told you earlier on. You can't use it for children less than 5.
For the content and the quality of the discussion, like Dr. Balogun mentioned, it was last minute. In fact, our engagement with him was quite fortunate. He get crashed at the event, and we saw him, and we snatched him, and he's here with us. We appreciate you, Lord. Thank you very much. For our scholars, we sent out the call and did our due diligence, and they are here. And the fact that they have written extensively on this topic regarding people with disability, I'd like to say to them that it's a win-win for them. They are research persons. They've done a lot of work in the background. They've written so many papers, documents, and all. But this project is like authenticating all their efforts, all their 9 days spent researching and putting all these papers together is coming into fruition now with this project. API, we say usually that we want data that is domiciled, peculiar, not only with Nigerians, but African. That is why we have the African Polling Institute. It's our own. We have examples all over, but this one is ours. And this disability project is something that came up from what API did in 2019 pertaining to social cohesion. The disability that we are talking about, it's not just because some are not able to. even in our national life, we say there's ability in disability. And we are moving further than we are now. Thank you so much for coming. For all those that be traveling back, particularly as scholars, and we should say journey, we are going to continue with this engagement, even with all the agencies of government here present. We are going to take it beyond here. And God willing, we will see the difference we expect to see within the disability community in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.